Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Erin, and today I'm going to talk about social emotional learning and techniques to enhance the school climate or culture in your community. Now, first of all, what is social and emotional learning? The Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning, also known as CASEL, defines social and emotional learning as the process through which children and adults acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage their emotions, to set and achieve positive goals, to feel and show empathy for others, to establish and maintain positive relationships, and to make responsible decisions. While aspects of social and emotional learning have been argued to be separate from academic domains, a wide body of scientific evidence illustrates the combined impact of academic development and social-emotional learning on students' learning and achievement abilities. Incorporating techniques to support students' development of SEL can improve the ability for all students to achieve successful outcomes. The 5 broad and interrelated areas of competence outlined by the CASEL 5 framework include self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. As CASEL reminds us, all learning is social-emotional learning. By taking advantage of teachable moments to infuse SEL into the curriculum, we can enhance educational equity, create positive school climates and cultures, improve academic outcomes, and foster a sense of belonging among all members of the community. When students are suffering from emotional issues, they'll typically be referred to a school counselor or a school psychologist for assessment and intervention, if necessary. However, the application of psychological principles can be applied to enhance the educational experience of all students and improve the school climate as a whole. Social emotional learning is not just important for school psychologists and school counselors to know about for dealing with students with severe emotional and behavioral issues. Social and emotional learning can help all students develop the skills to fulfill their full potential and achieve successful outcomes. Supporting the social and emotional needs of students is particularly important to ensure the equity in our educational systems. Students that come from backgrounds of trauma or disadvantage arrive into the learning environment at a different level of ability than students of higher privilege who may have had more opportunities to develop their social and emotional skills during childhood. By contrast, students from disadvantaged backgrounds have to wade through various psychological and emotional hindrances to arrive at the same starting point of learning as their more advantaged peers. When we fail to address the social and emotional needs of students, we are, in a sense, perpetuating the inequities like the academic achievement gap and the school-to-prison pipeline that position many children at a disadvantage, persisting throughout their lifetimes. Incorporating support for social and emotional learning into the academic curriculum can help level the playing field and bring all students to a functional state of learning. By addressing the social and emotional needs of students in tandem with their academic developmental needs, we can enhance the outcomes of vulnerable students and ensure that every student is afforded with the opportunity to receive the same quality of educational experiences. SEL benefits students, teachers, families, and the broader community because when we support the mental function of our students, we enable them to thrive in their learning environments and become the competent and stable future leaders and decision makers of society, and that serves the best interests of everyone. We know that students learn best when they are focused and engaged with the learning experience. The question is, how can we improve student attention and engagement with the learning material? How do we increase students' abilities to connect with the content for meaningful learning opportunities? How can we ensure that every student is afforded with a quality educational experience that supports their unique strengths and needs? Schematic development dictates the attribution one forms and the meanings they derive based on their prior knowledge, cultural background, and social experiences, among other influences. Providing content that is meaningful and relevant to the learner can support their schematic development for those meaningful connections. quote by Hickman states, "The learner is not a blank slate upon which ideas are to be written, nor is her mind a file cabinet into which facts are to be filed away. Each learner is a living organism with her own history, needs, desires, and, perhaps most importantly, her own interests." I'd like to share a story about a fictional student who I will call Sam. Sam was up late last night because her parents were having an argument. Sam's father struggles with addiction, and her mother works long hours and is not often home and available for Sam. This morning she woke up late, and in her haste to get breakfast, she accidentally dropped the carton of milk and made a huge mess, provoking an angry outburst from her father, who screamed at her, "What's wrong with you?" and made her clean it up. By the time Sam had finished cleaning the mess, she didn't have time to eat before she saw the school bus pulling away from her stop. She ran after the bus, waving her hands and yelling, "Wait, wait, stop!" Luckily, the driver stopped, but he opened the door and yelled at Sam, "What's wrong with you? You'll make us late." When Sam got off the bus at school, she saw that her backpack was soaked in milk, so she made a stop at the bathroom to grab some paper towels, cleaned off the mess, and was rushing to get back to class when she heard the bell ring. She raced toward the office to get a late slip, and she was stopped by an angry-looking administrator who admonished her for running in the halls and made her walk back to the front of the building and do it again the right way. When Sam finally made it to her classroom, she realized she'd forgotten to complete the assigned homework from last night. As she anxiously waited for her name to be called to present her forgotten assignment, she was so focused on her shame and embarrassment that she could barely hear the teacher's words through the thrumming in her ears. We've all felt like that. When you're just so overwhelmed by fear or embarrassment, or your nerves get the best of you, and it's just hard to learn to focus on anything other than that whatever it is that is taking all of your attention. And that's what happens when children are having other issues going on. They cloud up their mental capacities, and they're just not able to focus on the learning material if they're worried about what happened at home, or when their next meal will be, things like that take away from their learning experience. Although Sam is a fictional character, variations of Sams exist in every classroom. Some students may struggle with issues related to home and family. Some students may struggle with factors associated with socioeconomic disadvantages. Some might endure challenges associated with learning English as a second language, and others might have interpersonal difficulties and struggle to fit in with their peers. Every student arrives at a place of learning with their own unique compilation of psychological variables that they must learn to manage before they can arrive at a point of learning. These variations in mental states present an exceptional challenge for educators, who are faced with the daunting task of identifying the precise set of conditions under which each student will thrive, and connecting their students with the types of learning experiences that will spark meaningful connections and facilitate learning. As Peck and Smith put it, students enter their classrooms with a wide range of background experiences, and it is the business of educators to directly address those social and emotional needs and strengths. To help us better serve all of our students, we can remember the SAMs of our classroom by using the acronym SAMS, which stands for self-efficacy, attention, motivation, and systems. A quote by Albert Einstein states, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid." Individualized learning processes enable students to construct their own versions of knowledge based on the unique needs, interests, and abilities of each learner. The dynamic nature of human personality requires equally dynamic approaches to help each student actualize their gifts and achieve their full potential. By focusing on each learner's unique strengths and abilities, we can recognize the value each student brings to enhance the learning experience of all students. The S in SAM stands for self-efficacy, and that is the perceptions and beliefs one has about their abilities. Self-efficacy is developed through experiences of success and failures, and it's influenced by the responses received from parents, teachers, and peers. It also correlates with one's potential for goal achievement, and it is supported with learning opportunities that align with the student's abilities, as Vygotsky called it, their zone of proximal development. Cognitive inhibition functions enable a learner to attend to relevant stimuli and ignore extraneous influences. So a student's ability to concentrate on the task at hand will dictate their ability to achieve academic success. Executive functions enable students to monitor, control, and adapt their cognition, motivations, and behaviors to achieve their intended goals. For example, by outlining a plan, implementing the steps necessary to achieve their desired outcomes, reflecting on their performance, and recalibrating their efforts as needed. The ability to manage one's emotions, or emotional regulation, also provides crucial support for the learning process. When a student is distracted by emotional issues of concern, they are less able to concentrate on the learning material. Helping students develop skills for coping with negative emotions can enhance their ability to persevere through challenges and to engage the prosocial behaviors that facilitate learning. The Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence suggests the following strategies to support emotion regulation skills. Educators can build and maintain positive emotional climates by creating agreed-upon norms for feelings and interactions and collaborating to develop the means for helping their students achieve their goals. They can enhance self-awareness and social-emotional development by promoting a nuanced emotion vocabulary and incorporating a broad range of emotion regulation strategies into their classrooms. Developing a process for responding to emotional situations can help by providing predetermined strategies to deal with conflict. Finally, supporting the development of empathy and effective conflict resolution skills can be achieved by providing students with opportunities to reflect on conflicts and help to develop techniques for establishing justice. The M in the SAMS framework stands for motivation, which is also associated with schematic development. Without individualized construction of knowledge, students cannot effectively derive meaning from the learning material. Meaningful connections enable the learner to convert information into knowledge by forming associations between the new information in relation to their existing schemata. Cognitive schemata dictate the attribution one forms and the meaning they derived based on their prior knowledge, cultural background, and social experiences. Providing learners with opportunities to form those connections will help to enable them to more effectively retain the information. Support for motivation can be achieved by supporting the types of multiple intelligences presented in the classroom. Now, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence suggests that there are several different ways that intelligence is manifested differently among humans. Individualized learning strategies are as varied and diverse as each differently abled student and must be developed based on the strengths and needs of each learner. A method of supporting diverse learners is provided by Dr. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which identifies the distinct variations in the ways that intelligence is acquired and manifested differently among humans. While traditional forms of education have primarily focused on only two styles of learning, verbal linguistic and logical mathematics, Dr. Gardner's theory recognizes the variations of intelligence that all people possess in varying degrees. The multiple intelligence styles recognized by Gardner include naturalist intelligence, musical intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, existential intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, linguistic intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, and spatial intelligence. Recent discoveries from the field of neuroscience lend support to the concept of multiple intelligences. As Shearer explains, distinct patterns of region-specific neural activity have been found to correlate with the differences in intelligence identified by Gardner. As the fields of educational psychology and neuroscience continue to evolve and intersect in increasingly complex ways, the application of this research can help guide the development of educational strategies that can support all types of students in the manner best suited for each learner. Finally, the S in SAMS, systems of support, educational ecosystems to enhance learning. According to Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, interactions between multiple systems of the child's world are reciprocally interconnected, so that negative impacts to one system will negatively impact others, while strengths in one area will similarly strengthen others. A multi-level perspective based on ecological systems theory can guide the delivery of individualized support strategies and improve the child's ability to connect with the material and achieve optimal academic and developmental outcomes. Community partnerships that can support the educational ecosystem include opportunities for parental involvement within the learning community, as well as connecting families to needed resources and partnerships with community-based organizations, among others. For more information on implementing social and emotional learning in your school, please visit the following resources provided by CASEL. Thanks for watching.